Imagine a ballistic missile tearing through the sky at unimaginable speed, locked onto Israeli soil, aimed directly at our cities, our homes, our children. Now picture the destruction. Buildings crumbling, families buried beneath the rubble, the screams of the wounded, the silence of those that are no longer with us. But in reality, before impact, an Israeli Air Force fighter jet, piloted by the best of the best, intercept the missiles mid-air. Disasters averted, lives saved. This is the unseen battle that is happening in our skies every day. The Israeli Air Force, the jewel in Israel's crown, has been the backbone of our defense and our offensive capabilities, spearheading our victories in this war. And today, we will meet one of the heroes inside the cockpit. But before we do, please like, share, and subscribe to TBN Israel on YouTube.
Behind me is one of the high-tech machines that has been bombing targets around the Middle East throughout this war. And today we're in the Ramon Air Force Base about to interview Major N, one of the many pilots that has been fighting the war in the skies for the state of Israel. This is what it looks like to fight a war on 7 or 8 different fronts at the same time. The Israeli Air Force has reshaped the geopolitical map, the political understanding, and the history of this region in just over a year. Today we get an inside look into how the Israeli Air Force operates. Major N, thank you for being with us. This is a historical moment as far as I'm considered. We're standing here after more than 15 months of war, and the Israeli Air Force has been in places I think no one imagined it would be during this war, yourself probably included. And we're standing right next to an F-16I, the kind of jet you fly. I'd be interested to hear from your perspective what this war has been like. What have you done in the Air Force that you can tell us about that isn't a secret? And how did it feel fighting for your country during this last war?
So I will start and say that this war, we imagined the next war. We talked about in the squadron, like, how would it be, with whom, how big would it be, how long will it take?
This is before October 7th.
Before October 7th. And I can tell you, I never thought it will be the element of surprise we all known about. And we started the war in a very low point, because everybody knew someone that was kidnapped, died, murdered. You know, it's a very low point to start all of
Emotionally.
this. When you come to fly in the October 7th, I was in my home. I heard the sirens. I understand something is wrong, and then I opened my TV, and I saw Hamas car in the middle of Sderot. I realized something is completely wrong, because I knew the plan was to attack us from the north. So from Gaza, like, something is wrong. I immediately got into my car and drove to Ramon, the place that we are now, and immediately flew to Gaza. In this past 15 months, we did some crazy things I never thought we're gonna do. Like, every time there is something new, and you heard about everything.
I don't know that we've heard of everything, but what we heard is incredible.
The very big one, you heard a little bit. You know what we've done.
Before this war, we were talking about this just the other day. We thought in Israel, our biggest enemy is Hezbollah, and when the war breaks out between Hezbollah, the Iranians, and Israel, it's going to be something we're going to have a very hard time fighting against. It's been a year plus. There is barely any Hezbollah, and Israeli Air Force pilots have been flying bombing missions in Iran proper, over the Houthis in northern Yemen, taking apart Lebanon, taking apart Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and essentially everything we thought wasn't possible, the Israeli Air Force has done, plus several other things.
I can tell you there is nothing impossible for Israel, but I never imagined that we're going to do this stuff. Now, like every month when we do something new, I was in shock at the beginning, and then why not? This is what we have to do, we will do it. I will give you an example.
Please do.
Like Hezbollah planned for us a horror show. If they were managed to do what they planned, it would look something very different from what we have seen. the tactics and the behind the thing that we done was in order to stop them before they start the war with us. The first massive strike in Lebanon, I got the chance to join the strike. We were managed to eliminate most of the weapons that's supposed to get to Tel Aviv and Haifa, like 70–80%. So they never thought that we were going to do it. And they were like, we're not going to strike them as we can. And then we managed to surprise them. And this was a very clever decision that I think saved a lot of lives in Israel. You know, the difference between us and our enemies, they don't distinguish between civilians and army targets. They are a terrorist organization, but we are different, so...
We're very different. So where else were you that you can tell us about? What else can you tell us that happened during the war?
The thing that you imagine that took place with this plane as well, the F-16I. I cannot give you more information than that, but all over the Middle East.
So I'm going to say the list of what we know, and you can just nod or ignore what I'm saying. The Israeli Air Force, when this war started, we thought Iran was impenetrable. It has the best of the Russian anti-aircraft missiles, and yet, on several different occasions, the Israeli Air Force knocks out the S-300 battery in Iran, and then again knocks out multiple targets in Iran. We hit Houthis that were also protected by several air defense systems. Deep in Hezbollah territory, deep in Syrian territory throughout the war and before the war, in places that were supposed to be high casualty and high damage to Israeli aircraft if we would fly over. What I'd be interested to hear from you, you can't comment on where you've been, how is it that the aircraft come back in one piece every single time? Because every time we talk about this, we hear, oh, it's going to be a catastrophe, we're going to lose the aircraft, we're going to have hostages, pilots that fall captive and stuff like that. And yet, here you are, here's the plane, and no one seems to be injured.
Okay, this is not luck, of course. Maybe a little bit. Depends on the mission. Some of the mission, you don't take a lot of risks. When you fly above Gaza for a fighter jet, you don't have a lot of risks. But when you're flying in Lebanon, in Syria, and whatever, you have more risks. And depends on the mission and how valuable the target is, you take different risks. But when you know how the enemy thinks, you can try to manipulate them in a very special ways, techniques that people are thinking, how should we do it? And most of the time you can see this is working. It's mostly the human mind. It's not only the technical part and the technology. Mostly the how that we think is how we are managed to do the mission and come back safely to land. But I can tell you that most of the time we thought that someone's gonna get injured. You know, one of the planes will probably be hit by a missile or something. And we're surprised to see that the other side were not as good as we thought that they were.
I remember there was a time early on in the war where Hezbollah and the Russians, and I think also the Syrians, were complaining to international organizations that the Israeli Air Force was exploiting sort of technical issues, flying close to civilian aircraft or all kinds of different things. And they said, you're playing dirty when it comes to the Air Force. We're not able to shoot you out of the sky. And I remember hearing that, you don't have to comment whether it's true or not, and thinking, I'm so happy we're on the creative side and not on the side that just goes in the way that people expect. That we're using sophisticated thought processes or thinking outside of the box in the way we operate.
The only thing I can tell you that even I was surprised for several ideas that
came up.
That came up, yeah. I was surprised, like, wow, who came up with this idea? It's genius. The Jewish people have some great ideas, you know, in the high tech and everything. So also in the army and the tactics behind the missions.
We had this fear in our head of, oh no, the Hezbollah, oh no, the Iranians, oh no, the Russian anti-aircraft systems. And then the war came, and there was nothing to be afraid of. It's or we fight and destroy them, or they're coming to get us. And suddenly I think everyone was able to think in a way that wasn't limited anymore. You know, we said, oh, we can never attack in Iran. We've done it several times. Now everyone knows that we can penetrate Iran and are completely unstoppable by the Iranian Air Force.
I will tell you this. Our enemies now know that we are capable to do several things that they weren't sure that we can able to do, and we have the guts to do it. This is very important.
Do you feel like you think about the world differently after October 7th?
Yeah, of course, and I'm proud of what we do. Every strike is not just a strike. We don't strike whatever we want. It's precise to attack the terrorists. And I can tell you that in Gaza, some of my strike, I was airborne, and I did a circus just to wait. The target will be alone without uninvolved people around here. Some of the times, I got back with the bombs, and I didn't even strike.
I appreciate you saying that, because I think people forget that even during a time of war, the Israeli army in its entirety is very, very careful with the lives of our enemies. We only target the combatants and never civilian population. And we go to extreme lengths to prevent civilian casualties in
Never,
warfare.
I can assure you. Yeah. We are working with the national law, and we're doing everything that we do is with responsibility. We take account of every strike.
A war zone in the Gaza Strip being under fire by Hamas terrorists. You don't have time to sit and drink your coffee and wake up in the morning and get ready for the day and prepare. So sometimes I woke up at 2 in the morning after an hour and a half of sleep, and you need to wake up immediately and do your job and do it to perfection or people die.
You literally have your life on the line. You don't know what corner you turn and somebody's got a gun pointed at you.
So in order to wake up, I just took a Vinia pill, and I really felt the energy levels go up faster. The clarity of mind that doesn't usually happen immediately when you wake up in the morning.
Right.
And I don't remember taking much stuff with me into the Gaza Strip. I had my sleeping bag, a flashlight, and the Vinia bottle. So that's what I had with me.
You're a young person. You're very healthy, but you still think that Vinia was helpful to get you to even a higher level of performance?
It's helping me to exceed my normal abilities. So let's say, I'm at 100%, and that puts me at 120. With raising 3 kids, you need to be sharp and make the right decisions.
Raising 3 kids may be equal to combat.
A lot harder. A lot harder. Listen, I'm still taking Vinia every day because I want to be there with my kids when they grow old. I want to be able to dance at their wedding and carry my kids and my grandkids for years to come. And this is the time to start, when you're young.
Is this an F-16I?
This is an F-16I, yeah.
How many hours do you have in this kind of chair?
How many hours?
Yeah.
Too many.
We're talking about thousands
like
of hours?
Thousands, yeah.
Thousands
of hours. You have 2 seats. You have the navigator and yourself. I'm doing one thing, he's doing another thing. And then you are more efficient when you are 2 in the same cockpit. And you see this red button? This is the button that releases the bombs, the missiles. You have to be very careful with this button. You know how they say, with great power comes great responsibility.
We're looking at this plane. It seems inconspicuous. But I think about it, it's been to many, many countries that I'm never going to get to visit.
Yeah.
Doing things that most people never get to do or know about.
Yeah.
And I feel, you touch this, you can feel the history of these kind of vehicles. 4 or 5 months ago, we interviewed one of the people. Relik Shafir is a sort of a legendary Air Force pilot. He's one of the people that bombed the Iraqi Osirak reactor. And I asked him a question, I'm going to ask you the same question. What is it that makes our Air Force so powerful? Because I think people have this mindset, it's the best airplanes and technology. Maybe the best training for the pilots. Something, strategy, technology, daring. And his answer was, I'll give you a teaser. He said, it's all of them. He said, we're willing to do things that other Air Forces refuse to do. And he was describing, this was when we bombed the Iraqi reactor, how much we pushed the aircraft to the edge. It was the maximum range, the maximum ability of the bombs, the maximum flight time, the maximum everything, to the exact boundaries of what you're able to do, and past it a little more. And I heard that, I was like, now it makes sense. Because it's not just the best training, it's everything is pushed to the maximum because we're fighting a war of self-defense.
Exactly. And I will give you one more thing that I think why we are doing it. Because since 1948, when this nation and this country was called Israel and we started living here, we are fighting for our freedom and independence. So when you fight for your family, for your friends, for yourself, for your country, it's much more powerful than anything else. And you are willing to do some crazy things you never thought you would do. And you have this feeling in your heart that you are doing the right thing for the right people and you are in the right side. And I think this is everything.
I think on everyone's mind is the question of what's the next war looking like? And the next war being Iran. We're at a place right now when we're recording this where everyone in the world is looking at this part of the world. We have the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. They're all stationed around Iran. We know, you don't have to say this, the Israeli public knows, the Israeli Air Force and the American Air Force have been training like this for a very long time together. What you know about our Air Force and their Air Force, how much of a match is it?
I cannot tell you a lot about this, but I will tell you that we are ready for anything. And I don't know how exactly the war is going to be. I don't know. But I'm ready for the worst case scenario. And I know we will do the right thing. And we are getting ready for whatever it takes to defeat whoever wants to eliminate us from here.
So many of our viewers, and there are many of them, they repeatedly ask the question of how can we be praying for the people on the ground, for the soldiers, for the pilots, as you wear your military outfit and get ready to fly again.
Just believe in the way that we do in our path and share the truth. We need it. When we see it, the people all over the world share the truth. It gives us strength to keep doing what we are doing.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. And that's what people need to understand at home, is at the end of the line, there's a person like you who instead of, and I'm saying this because this conversation could have gone a different direction, of we're the strongest, we beat all our enemies, and and instead, no, you've talked about morality, talked about saving the lives of the innocent, talked about fighting a war of self-defense. I think the fact that we're morally justifiable in our actions is at the core of the way the Israeli army operates. And it gives the power to go on and gives the support for people like you when you go on the next mission.
It was great talking to you.
Major N, thank you very much.
Come fly with us.
Let's go.
What we saw today was a glimpse into the heart of the Israeli Air Force and into the mind of a man who carries our safety on his shoulders, mission after mission. It was an honor to hear his experiences and to feel the weight of the responsibility he and his team carry every single day. We are deeply grateful for the brave souls of the Israeli Air Force, those who raise at the moment's notice, risk everything, and do whatever it takes to keep all of us safe. Their commitment, their sacrifice, and their quiet heroism are the reason that we get to sleep at night. To them, we owe our deepest respect. May God protect them always and bring all of our hostages, all of our soldiers, and anyone who's involved in protecting the country of Israel safe home soon.
Hello, this is Mati here in Jerusalem with TBN Israel.
This is Yair Pinto from TBN Israel here in Jerusalem. TBN Israel is keeping viewers informed with Israel-focused news, culture, and what God is doing in this land.
Support TBN Israel today online at tbn.org/Israel. Thank you.